today? Hello everyone, my name is Katie and I'll be your tour guide for today. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Has anybody been to the mystery spot before? A few people? Alright, for those of you who haven't, let me fill you in on a little history behind the mystery. The mystery spot was purchased by a man named George Prather in 1939. And he was hoping to buy the flat grounds, which are currently our parking lot right over there. And he wanted to buy the land so he could build himself a nice summer cabin. But the lumber company that was selling the property would only give it to him if it included this hillside as well. So thinking this was a little strange, but it was certainly a sound financial deal, he decided to take both sets of land. And as he was getting the deed from the lumber company, he mentioned to them that he might now want to build his cabin up on this hill. After all, it would have a great view. But the lumber company warned him that anything that they had ever tried to build on this hillside had mysteriously slid down. So thinking this was even stranger, Mr. Prather sent his own survey team up the hillside. They noticed it was very difficult to climb and their compasses were giving incorrect readings of up to 180 degrees. So north was pointing south and south was pointing north on this little hill right here. Now the exact boundary of the mystery spot cuts through these two cement blocks, these redwood trees, wraps around the cabin at the top of the hill, and comes right back here, and it's a big circle of about 150 feet in diameter. So I would like to start this tour off with a little demonstration, and it involves these two cement blocks right here. Now they happen to be level surfaces at one time, but the roots of these redwood trees have kind of eroded the ground, causing them to slightly shift. So geniuses at the mystery spot came up with a high-tech solution to even out the surfaces, the 2x4 planks right here. But does everyone know how a carpenter's level works? In case you don't, I'll tell you. If the bubble is in the center, it proves that it is a level surface. If this is resting uphill, the bubble will float this way, and if this is resting uphill, the bubble will float that way. And if I put this carpenter's level right on top of the 2x4 plank, you can see that the bubble's in the center of the circle, proving this is a level surface. And that being the case, there should be no height change. So, for my next demonstration, can I please have two people? Two volunteers. Okay, who would like to volunteer with him? Okay. Alright, can I have you actually switch places? Can I have you stand on this side? And you stand on this side, 1 foot on either 2x4 facing each other. Okay, so when you look straight ahead, your eye level is probably hitting him at the chest. When you look straight ahead, several inches above his head. So could you trade places? Okay, so now your eye level has dropped so that when you look straight ahead now, it is more, before it was up here, now it's probably about here on him, and your eye level is more above his head than before, so you're taller. You're getting younger here at the mystery spot, sorry about that. Can I have a big round of applause? Okay, so does anybody notice anything strange about me?
You're leaning.
I'm leaning. You all are leaning as well. If you turn around and you face that back fence, and if you put your feet together, and you look down, you'll notice that your feet are approximately 2 inches to the right of your body, so that we are all leaning over to the left. And if you look up, you're all leaning at the same angle. Now if you turn right back around and face me, you might think that my lean appears more extreme. And this is because I'm a trained professional and I know how to lean. Or the fact that I get a little help from the opposite angle of this cabin doorway. But I'd like to tell you a little bit about this cabin. It was originally built about 20 feet farther up this hillside on a sound foundation. But after 2 months of construction, it mysteriously slid down and stopped right here. So does anyone have any idea why it would stop here and not plummet into our parking lot at the base of the hill? The tree? Some people are pointing to the tree on the other side of this cabin. However, do you remember who Mr. Prather bought this land from? Told you at the beginning of the tour?
From the lumber company.
The lumber company. And that lumber company cleared the majority of this forest when they owned the land. That tree's only about 40 years old or so, while the cabin is 70, so it couldn't have stopped the cabin at this point. So we believe that inside this cabin is the very center of the mystery spot, and that's what's holding it on the hillside. Now I'm going to be making a demonstration, and it involves our board of mysteries. Now this appears as a normal boring board, but it's about to go very mysterious. How many of you think this is a level surface? You might think it's level. Okay, that's crazy. How many of you think this is the high side? You must think this is the high side. It looks like the high side. Does anyone think this is the high side inside the cabin? Maybe the opposite? Anyone not thinking at all? A few. Alright, well if we put the carpenter's level down, you can actually see that the bubble is between the two black lines. If I could have you, sir, step forward and tell me, is the bubble between the two black lines? Perfect. Okay, so I have a witness who is verifying the bubbles, two black lines. It's a level board. So that being the case, what would happen if I put a pool ball in the center of a level board? It should stay right there, right?
Whoa.
I can put it way into the cabin.
Oh my God.
And I can push it into the cabin.
It's on the back.
Alright, so you might think this is not a real pool ball. Maybe this is rigged or magnetized. So does anyone have a cylindrical object such as water bottle, chapstick, lipstick, small child?
Whoa.
Don't worry,
There
it's
you
scary.
go. Thank you. Anyone else have an object they'd like to try? Water bottle? Okay. Sometimes these don't work because they're squeegee and it should be perfectly smooth. This doesn't work because it needs to be like really smooth. But I will show you one other thing that involves a water bottle.
Water.
Wow. Alright. So I poured the water in the middle of the board, but it flowed up on the level board. Pretty strange, huh? Alright, so that's our board of mysteries. So, inside this cabin, we're now experiencing the 17-degree lean that I showed you in that photograph at the beginning of the tour. And as you can see, I'm leaning way over the edge of this table. And this is not normal. It doesn't usually look like this. And kids, don't try this at home. It won't end up like this. And if you decide to take a photo up here today, there's only one rule, and that's please don't jump off the table, because you'll most likely not land in front of you as you might expect, but actually slide down at the same angle as you all are standing underneath the table. So if I were to leap out, I would just sort of crash underneath. We don't want to have any injuries here today. So some people think this is just an optical illusion because of the slant of the cabin floor. So to disprove this, if I could have someone reach up, grab those handlebars, and lift themselves up maybe about an inch or so. And if you could give them plenty of room. So if you could step, you're going to definitely want to step back. Okay, so his body is hanging at the same angle as we all are standing without touching the ground. So that was perfect. So that shows that it is not the slant of the floor creating the lean. I'm just going to step down here and tell you that one other cool thing about this room is you can pretend like you're in the Matrix and do some cool things. But first, let's go into this room and I'll give you time to take pictures in both. So this right here is a 30-pound lead pendulum. And lead is a material that is not affected by magnetism or polarities. And since it's a pendulum, it should swing equidistant in either direction. Be just as easy for me to push it one way as the other way. But I'm going to let it swing, and you can see that it swings much farther in one direction than in the other direction. And it starts to swing in a counterclockwise circle. Now this doesn't make sense because we're in the northern hemisphere, so everything naturally swings clockwise. When you flush your toilet, the water goes down clockwise. This, however, is swinging in a counterclockwise circle. Now, if you decide to play with this today, please be conscious of others so nobody becomes unconscious. And please don't push it past this line. It'll come crashing through our cabin wall. And be mindful that as you push it towards the center, it gets more difficult, and as you push it away, it gets easier. Now, just in case you didn't believe me about the slant of the floor being a possible optical illusion, can I have you step up on this board right here? Now, he is standing on a different plane or different floor than all of us. In fact, that board is colliding with our floor. But his body is still showing the same 17-degree lean. So this proves that it is not the angle of the floor that is creating the lean. Now, another thing and you can either step off or I'm going to go right here, is that it's very easy to walk up on walls here, which proves absolutely nothing but makes a great picture. So it's time to move about the cabin, have fun, and take pictures. I'll tell you when it's time to go outside. So who thinks that this is a level surface, what I'm standing on right now? Converted one person exactly. Alright, well I'm actually just going to trick you again. Because if you can see, the bubble is floating over on the left-hand side. This is not a level surface, rather that side is higher than this side. Or that is uphill and this is downhill. Everyone can see the bubble is floating over in this direction. So that being the case, this is uphill and it rolls very awkwardly downhill. Now I'm going to be walking uphill and I want you to notice what happens to me. I just shrunk a little bit, so for my next demonstration, can I have someone who is 6 foot tall or 5'11"? You, sir? To stand up on this bench and face out towards the audience. Is someone 5'10" or 5'9"? You, sir? Please join him right on the bench. Is someone 5'7"? Will you please join him? Is someone 5'5"? 5'5", 5'6", 5'4". Okay, will you please join him on the bench? Is someone 5'2"? Will you please? And is someone 5'1" or 5 foot even? Will you please join them on the bench? So if everyone glances over to their right, everyone is shorter than them, and if they glance over to their left, everyone is taller. But this is about to change, so you might want to take a picture of this. Might want to smile. Alright, so after we've documented their heights, if I could have you at the very end, trade places with you, ma'am, at the very end. And then could I have you, sir, trade places with you? And could I have you two trade places? Alright. Okay, so now whether they look over to their right or left, they are more at eye level with the person next to them. And what's even stranger is a lot of them are exactly the same height. And this man over here is the tallest person, and he is standing uphill, and this is the shortest person, and she is standing downhill. There's not that much of a height discrepancy between them, and in fact they look relatively the same height across. They also notice this height change between themselves without looking at the side of the roof behind them, so it wasn't some kind of crazy optical illusion. So after we have a picture of this, could I have a big round of applause for my volunteers?